In the next video, I am going to explain the instructions for the second assignment of the PA450 sequence. Remember that what we're trying to do here is a simplified version of a budget document. I start the assignment with an explanation of the outcomes that I'm expecting you to learn after you complete the task. We stated at the beginning of the course that one of the goals that I have in mind is to provide you with the necessary skills to analyze budget data and create a basic budget document. We are not going to be analyzing data yet, but I will be giving you information that you will use to tell a story. The difference between the first assignment and this one is that now the data is not going to be structured as in the first one, and also that you will be working with a team in the preparation of the budget document. What you are going to learn is how to extract relevant information about the socioeconomic status of a city and collaborate with your teammate in the preparation of a memorandum explaining the features of the city. And we are going to assume that your target audience are decision makers who want to know something in advance of the budget planning stage. To give you some background, I'm going to tell you that the first assignment was simple because the idea was to get you in the mood of a budget analyst so that you could understand what are the things that you would be expected to do. That assignment was straightforward because I was giving you the data, and actually I was giving you the data in a way that was already processed. You were just expected to read it and tell a story by using that information. Now, I am going to give you information about the socioeconomic features of a city. What does that mean? What are socioeconomic features? Well, imagine that you work for a city and someone is asking you that you need to participate in the preparation of a budget document. Before you engage in that task, you need to know something about the city where you're working. You need to know who pays the tax. You need to know what taxes are being paid, or in other words, what revenues the city can collect. You need to know something about population. You need to know something about land use, etc. All of that can be analyzed with something that is called a socioeconomic analysis. We are going to do something very basic in here, but that will give you a good idea of what you would expect it to do in a real life situation. You will extract information from a document that I will provide you with this assignment, and then you are going to write a budget memorandum where you will be describing that information to a decision maker. So here are the instructions. You and your team members are going to be playing the role of a budget analyst, and you are working directly at the chief financial office in a certain city. The CFO or CBO, which is Chief Budget Officer, are in charge of the preparation of the budget. Let us assume that you will be working for a city called Somerville. The city elected a new mayor. The new mayor is a very skilled politician. Unfortunately, he doesn't know enough about the finances of the city that he will govern. So he asks your boss to prepare a budget memorandum analyzing key features of the socioeconomic status of the city of Somerville. So here's the task for your team. Teams will extract the information that is needed to prepare a budget memorandum, and this time we're going to set the limit in 3 pages. I will give you the information. So what you will give me when this assignment is due is a budget memorandum that will be followed with an appendix showing your work on a very specific deadline. Let me give you some explanation about how you're going to proceed. We need to have a structure to complete this task. And the way we can get a structure is by following certain steps. So this assignment should be done by doing the following steps. The first one is you are going to find information in the handout that will allow you to find answers to the following questions. You're going to extract information about the form of government, and you're going to answer questions 1.1, 1.2, and 1.3. As you will see when you solve the assignment, some of these questions do not require major research or a very long answer. You just go straight to the point and answer the question that I'm asking. Then you are going to find information in the same document to answer questions about the socioeconomic characteristics of the city. These characteristics vary, sometimes significantly, but in this case, because we are talking about a simplified version of a document, you are going to be focusing on a description of these features of the city: its population, its land use, the natural resources that it has, and then you're going to give me a comment on the role of the university in terms of the economic base. You will understand what I'm talking about when you start finding the information in the document. Then you're going to have questions about the tax base and the sources of revenue. By asking you these questions, I want you to start learning the language that is used in budget preparation. Right now, some of these terms may be too technical for you, but we have time to learn why these concepts are important, and we have time in this course to learn about all these terms that they're not that difficult to understand. Something that I write as a footnote is something that it's important because it gives you an idea of how you could be using this information in a real life situation. Learning about the structure of a city's tax base and about the types of revenues that it collects is an essential component of budget planning. Why? Because this is what enables a budget analyst to start thinking about the revenue side of the budget equation. In other words, imagine that you are actually working as a budget analyst. You want to know about the revenues that the city might collect or will be collecting before you start thinking about the expenditure side of the budget equation. In other words, you want to know how much money comes in before you start thinking about how much money goes out as public spending. Right now, we're not talking about spending yet. We're talking about the revenue side of the budget equation. And that's why I'm asking you questions about the tax base, and I'm asking you questions about the sources of revenue. I will explain in a separate video what these concepts mean. Once the team answers these simple questions, you will use that information to tell a budget story. And that budget story will be part of step 2 or step B. What you will be asked to do will be to write a budget memorandum that describes or gives an explanation of the city's tax base, revenue sources, population, etc. You are going to write the memo by highlighting the information that your team thinks is relevant. Because if you try to explain everything in 3 pages, you might find that there's not enough space to do it. So you need to set some priorities. You are going to write the budget memorandum as a team, and on the deadline, you are going to give me the following deliverables. You are going to create 1 document per team, and each document will have 3 components. The first component, the one that I want to see on top of your budget packet, will be the budget memorandum. That is the first document that I want to see, and is the first document that I am going to read. But when you write a budget memorandum in real life, you always add an appendix. An appendix is where you have all the supporting evidence for all the claims that you are including in your budget memorandum. In this assignment, we're going to do things in a simple way. Appendix 1 will include the answers to the specific questions that I'm asking you in the first step of this assignment. That means the answers to this question that I explained before. Now, there will be a second appendix in your assignment. This is going to be very simple. I want each member of the team to write a short paragraph explaining how he or she contributed to this assignment. Now that you're working in teams, I want all of you to be professional. I don't want procrastinators, and I want every team member to be involved in the preparation of the assignment. That's an expectation, and I will be paying close attention to what you write in this paragraph to get a good sense of who did what for this assignment. I want students to talk about their strengths, and I want students to talk about the commitment that they're going to have for this assignment. Now, I know that you are busy, but this is important for your career and I want you to participate actively. That being said, we can proceed to the grading rubric. This is a modified version of the rubric that was used on assignment 1 because now I'm looking for different things on this assignment. When I grade your assignment, I will give you an overall score that is going to be based on the following. First, I will pay attention to the overall quality of the budget memorandum. And this includes clarity, format, grammar, and presentation. Being professional, meaning in this context, means that you need to pay attention to details. Everything matters in the preparation of a budget memorandum. Then I will go to the story that you're telling me. That is the content of the document. I want to make sure that the team is able to articulate an effective explanation and that the document that you are giving me is actually informative. I will be playing the role of that chief budget officer that is reading the work that his team has put together. Then I will go to Appendix 1, and here I want to make sure that the answers to the questions that I posed above are going to be answered correctly. And then finally, I will go to the second appendix. This is where I'm going to read your own statement about how you participated. I want you to be as specific as possible. When you write that paragraph, you can tell me, for example, I answered questions 1 and 3, or I review the final version of the memorandum, or I answer questions and I met with my teammates to write the budget memorandum. Each team will have a different way of organizing their work, but what I am going to assess as a professor is the overall outcome because you guys are working as a team, but I will also pay attention to the individual contribution that each of you will have for the final product. Just like we did in previous assignments, I will be writing check marks in each of these sections. And this score will give you kind of like a general idea of how many points you would get for each section. The final grade will be a composite measure of these sections. If necessary, I will provide the team with comments about the things that I'm reading on the assignment, and my comments are going to be designed to make you work or improve your work for the following assignments. And then you're going to have your final grade. Before I conclude, I can remind you, or I would like to remind you, that even if you are in a class environment, and even if you're taking this class online, it is very important that you think about the relevance of these kind of tasks. Don't take shortcuts. Really try to get involved in what you are doing, because this language is commonly used in government. This language is commonly used in non-profit organizations. So what I'm giving you are tools that you can use in an internship or in a job talk. It is up to you to decide how you're going to be using this material, but this is a good time to start thinking about your career and how you can use the things that you learn in school, and more particularly in my course, for your future career. Let's continue our conversation in the following videos. Best of luck.